In this video, I'm going to show you guys how to use the Condor 25 shell shot shell pouch. So this thing is actually pretty sweet, fully loaded right now. It doesn't make any noises. It's not just a bunch of loose shells going around. Even when you take a few out, you can close it back up. It's still going to be silent. That's a good thing. So anyways, one modification I recommend you do, you'll have a little strip of webbing right here. I recommend making your own little monkey fist out of 550 cord just to make it easier to find, because you'll need this to do one swift motion up, because grabbing it by this little flap and yanking up, these buttons are actually pretty tough. You pull up on this to get access, and you'll see here that yes, this thing goes down automatically under the weight of having shells. It's not going to do that if there is no shells, but anyways, you'll notice that there's two buttons right here that you can snap down on. So, and only one pair up here. And I believe, my theory is that this is for like 3-inch shells, and this is for like 2 3/4. But, you know, that's just my theory, whatever. But I'm able to comfortably get this to the 2 3/4 buttons, or the lower buttons, if you will, and snap them on, and it's good to go. And then yank up, and you have access. So the technique that I recommend is the one that I've been using, which is work from outside in and then top to bottom. Now, you can have this flipped open and then you have access to 9 shells right away. It's not always the easiest to get to these inside ones. You really have to work your way from the outside in, and you have one shell. This is the only shell that's like this, where it sits like this. It is kind of difficult to get in there. So this 12-gauge shell, this band is a little bit smaller than it probably should be, but it does fit in there nice and tight. There is no movement or anything. So anyways, let's go ahead and get into the specific technique. For the outside ones here, are the ones that you can actually get your fingers under, like these ones and some of the lower ones. When you unfold it more, simply get your index and middle finger, push on the front of the shells, push it up, and usually it's going to be like so, so it'll actually be pretty stable. You push up, and then you get your thumb behind them like this, and it'll happen very quickly, but you push up and get them into your hand. And if you have problems, like you don't get them in all the way, and instead of fumbling with them when you're trying to load them like this, just push them against your body, and then you can handle them a lot easier. It's better to do this now instead of trying to fumble with them when they're basically about to get loaded into the gun. Anyways, so same technique for these two at the back. You push up and then have your thumb behind them and grab them. And there you go. It should be nice and secure, and it can happen pretty fast. Now for this one, this is a good emergency reload one. You simply push with your index finger backwards, and then you grab with your thumb and middle finger, and then you load it just like that. So now we have the inside ones available. So here it's going to be a little bit different. I handle these a little bit differently because I can't really get my finger under these, or any of my fingers under these, because they are literally, you know, front to back on these. You can see you got the brass exposed right here, and they are tip to tail. So I just get my thumb behind the middle two, and I force it behind the middle two, and then I grab with my middle finger, and then I secure with my index finger. So without looking, I'll just put these back in there, since it's pretty easy to feel your way through. So get my thumb, force my thumb behind the middle two, and then use my middle finger to grab them, and then my index finger just gives me that extra sure grip as they're coming out. And then of course I can push it against my body to get them into my hand a lot easier. And then of course after that, you just go individually. You put the thumb behind it and almost into the sleeve with it, and shoving it behind it and almost in the sleeve, and then I grab it with my middle finger. And then of course you got it with your index finger. Same one with this one. And you can still have one in your hand while you're grabbing the other one. So 2 at a time is basically the technique with a pouch like this. And then, of course, you can grab this and rip it down a little bit more and expose these ones. And here you go. Same technique. Grab 2 at a time. You push up with your index and middle finger, thumb behind it, and extract it. Push up with your index and middle finger, thumb behind, and extract them. Easy enough. And then you get down to here, 2 at a time from the two middle ones, and then individual and individual, put it together, load, and there you go. And now you can expose these ones. These ones are just like the outside ones. When you get down to these 8, it's just going to be the same as the outside ones. Now you can work from the bottom up if you wish. It doesn't really matter at this point, but fingers underneath, thumb behind, grab them. Fingers underneath, thumb behind, grab them. Fingers underneath, thumb behind, grab them. Fingers underneath, thumb behind, and you're done. And when this pouch is empty, pull it up, and you do this one-handed. You have your weapon in this hand, so pull it up, use the back of your hand to flip up the little monkey fist, and then bring the monkey fist down on it, and there you go. It's closed up now, it's not going to act like a flag, and you're good to go. Last thing to talk about is setting up this pouch. So this is how I set up my pouch. This is why it works out so well and it flows so well, because I have all the shells pointing downwards. I go ahead and open this thing up all the way, and this is how I load my pouch. All of them facing downwards, and then you get this area. This is the base right here. And so you just fold the bottom of these shells up onto its bed, and then you got Velcro on both sides, and then you make sure the Velcro on both sides, I try to get it as perfect as I can, and make sure that all these get folded up nicely. And there shouldn't be too much Velcro. Like here, there's excess Velcro sticking out. I don't personally like that. I'm kind of a perfectionist when loading these things, so that's more like it. And this side, I need to redo a little bit because there's a little bit poking out here, a little bit more than I typically like to see. So there we go. Now I got a nice little bed of shot shells, and then when getting these down, I just flip this up, and then I push down the shells, make sure they're flush with this top here, and then we're pretty much good to go. And then you pull forward. You'll really want to make sure you're pulling forward and then coming back down on top of it. And that tucks these shells away nicely. And now you have a very quiet pouch. And that way when you rip it open, gravity will help put this right where it needs to be. And then you can start getting your shells out and doing your little reloads the way that I showed you. And it doesn't really matter if you go back to front, front to back on the individual shells really, but anyway, that's my recommendation for the Condor 25 shell shot shell pouch. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Appreciate you guys watching, train safe, and you guys have a good one.